In the 5 editions of the WBC we've had so far, host cities have been Tokyo, Seoul, Taichung, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Toronto, Miami, San Juan, Phoenix, Fukuoka, Scottsdale, Mexico City, Zapopan, Anaheim. Next year we can add Houston to that list. If you're keeping count, that's only 7 countries. A lot of cities out there that could host but haven't been given the chance yet. Thanks to Michael Engelhard T for the idea for this video. It's something I often think about, and I decided to make a top 10 out of it. These are all cities that have never hosted a round of the WBC before, though they may have hosted a qualifier. And I did say cities, so it can be a country that has hosted before, but a different city. The cities near the bottom of the list are not quite ready to host a WBC round yet. Maybe in 2029 or in the 2030s, and especially if the WBC expands to 24 teams, there's a really good chance one of them could be selected as a host city. The list gets more realistic as we move up, and over half these cities are ready to host any time. So let's take a look, starting with number 10, Amsterdam, or Rotterdam, or anywhere in the Netherlands, the country that's long been the powerhouse of baseball in Europe. It's never hosted a qualifier because it's never been in the qualifiers, always a part of the main tournament of the WBC. And it's never hosted a WBC pool because there are no other major baseball countries around it. It makes more sense to have Netherlands travel to the Caribbean, where most of the Netherlands players come from anyway, and play in a group with other Caribbean countries. So this might work if the WBC expands to 24 teams. If there are 6 pools of 4 teams, then it seems possible to have an all-European pool, with maybe Netherlands, Italy, Czech Republic, and Great Britain, or Germany if they qualify. Netherlands would be seen as one of the favorites to advance out of a group like that, so it would seem right to let them host it. But where exactly would they hold the games? The stadium Neptunus uses in Rotterdam seats a couple thousand, expandable to 6,000. That's fine for a qualifier, but too small for the WBC. Sports Park Pioneers, capacity 1,000, is said to be expandable to 30,000, and was considered for MLB's first series in Europe, before they ended up choosing London, that is. The Hoofddorp Pioneers were willing to expand and upgrade the stadium in order to hold a Major League Series. Would they be willing to do the same to host a WBC pool? And would it even be worth it? How many fans would they get for an all-European WBC pool? Big questions there. Number 9, Dubai. 5 years ago, this would have seemed utterly ridiculous. Now it only seems semi-ridiculous. Most of us thought baseball would never work in the Middle East, but in the last few years, Baseball United has been testing out the market. And what we found is, exhibition ball games in Dubai can attract crowds in the low thousands. WBC games would most certainly attract more. Games between national teams draw better crowds than games between ball clubs. Small sample size we've got, but so far that seems to be the case. And if a larger venue is needed, there's a 25,000 seat stadium that can and has been used for baseball. Why not Dubai? Well, those crowds in the low thousands may be about all they can get right now. There's not an abundance of baseball fans in the UAE. They're going to need time to develop interest in the sport there, which could take a long time. Also, aside from Pakistan, there are no countries in the area that could participate in a Dubai pool, even if the WBC expanded to 32 teams, which it won't. So you'd have Pakistan and some countries from really far away. Pakistan would be the closest thing to a home team, even though they'd be the biggest underdog in the group. So this would be fun to see, but just won't work at this time. Number 8, Barranquilla. This would be the first ever WBC round hosted on the South American continent, and Colombia provides a safer alternative to Venezuela. Baseball does well in coastal Colombia, with a successful domestic league and sellout crowds for playoff games. Panama and Venezuela are right next door on either side. Nicaragua, Curacao, and Brazil are not too far away. So unlike the last two, it looks like you could put a strong 5-team group together and have them play in Barranquilla. No expansion of the WBC necessary. The downside? The country's 2 signature stadiums only seat 12,000. That would be really small for the WBC. Not the smallest ever, but there are so many other choices in Latin America with larger venues. And they don't need anything bigger than that. They're not going to build a new stadium just for the WBC. So while this could happen, it doesn't seem too likely. But it would be a great candidate for holding a WBC qualifier, or an MLB exhibition series. They should start with that. Then they can think about the WBC later. Number 7, London. Another one that would have seemed ridiculous not too long ago. But in the last 6 years, London has hosted 6 Major League Baseball games, all of them with crowds over 50,000. Think about everything I said about the Netherlands a little bit ago. You can also apply that to London. If they get an all-European pool, the other countries would be close enough for many fans to make the trip. And with London, we don't have to worry about a properly sized venue, because they've already got one. Or do they? London Stadium is fine for an MLB series, but how many of those seats are they going to fill for a game between two European national teams? Even if Great Britain is playing, how much are the British going to get behind their national team? I'd say they need a smaller venue, find one they can convert for use in the WBC. So their situation is not too much different from the Netherlands. A venue the size of London Stadium is great for a pool featuring the top countries of the WBC. But if you're going to pool those countries together, makes sense just to hold it in the Americas, rather than having them cross the Atlantic. Number 6, Monterrey, a large city in Mexico close to the US border. Close enough that American fans can pour across the border from Texas and help fill up the stands. Estadio de Baseball Monterrey seats 21,000, which is plenty enough. Baseball is played year-round in Monterrey. A lot of support for the Sultanes teams in both the summer and winter leagues. Major League Baseball has held several successful series in Monterrey in the recent past. The weather is pretty nice in March, very little chance of rain. But there is a chance. The WBC is played on a tight schedule, and a rainout is more than just an inconvenience. That risk is there with any outdoor venue. Doesn't mean they can't play at an outdoor venue. Next year's WBC will have one pool played in Puerto Rico, but in that case there's no indoor option in the Caribbean, so it's worth the risk. But organizers may look at Monterrey and think, why play there when there are a couple indoor options across the border, with almost twice as many seats? Bigger crowds, no chance of a rainout. Monterrey loses that battle. If the WBC really wants to play in Mexico again, they'll probably go with Estadio Alfredo Arpelu in Mexico City. They have played in Mexico City before, but that was before the new stadium went up. So it would be a new venue, but not a new host city. MLB has moved their series from Monterrey to Mexico City. I'd expect the WBC to have the same preference. So Monterrey is not a bad choice. Just seems that no matter what their intention is, there's always a better choice. Number 5, Hokkaido, Japan. This would give Japan a chance to have the North Island represented. Every tournament features Tokyo Dome, and the 2013 edition had a pool hosted on the southern island of Kyushu at the Fukuoka Dome. Now it would be the North Island of Hokkaido's turn, and it would be a chance for Japan to show off its newest ballpark, Escon Field. Tokyo Dome serves its purpose. It's in the capital city, large capacity, but the appearance is pretty bland. Escon looks a lot nicer. It's got a roof, which is good because Hokkaido is pretty cold. 35,000 capacity, and it's in Japan, so we know it can attract a large crowd. But that may be only when Japan plays. In 2013, when they played in Fukuoka, the 3 games not involving Japan were all under 5,000 in attendance. Of course, attendance is going to be lower when the home country isn't playing. But think about the 2023 WBC in Tokyo. The lowest attended game still had 14,000. They're not going to choose Hokkaido or any other place in Japan over Tokyo. And the way the format works now, where there's only one group stage, Japan probably won't get 2 host cities in the same tournament again. If Asia gets 2 host cities again, like it had last time, either Korea or Taiwan would probably get one. Tokyo is a lock for the other. Number 4, T-Mobile Park in Seattle. California has hosted the WBC in all 4 of its present MLB stadiums. That leaves Seattle as the last West Coast MLB city that has not hosted. And why not? 48,000 seats, bigger than all but one stadium in California, right by the Canadian border. Mariners fans talk about Blue Jays fans taking over when their team's in town. Imagine all those fans crossing the border and rushing in to see USA versus Canada. The Mariners have quite a history with Japanese players, especially Mariners legend Ichiro. They'd be sure to get him involved with things there. And Seattle is the nearest major league city to Japan, Korea, and Taiwan. Still a very long flight, but a little bit closer. The case against Seattle? Well, I guess since the WBC doesn't prioritize the West Coast like it used to, the last and next WBCs don't have any West Coast rounds. If they are going to play on the West Coast, Dodger Stadium makes more sense. It's the biggest one, and it's got a wider range of nationalities in the area. If they want to return the final round to the West Coast, I'd definitely go with Dodger Stadium. But if they've got room for a first round pool on the West Coast, Seattle's got a pretty strong case. Number 3, Taipei. Taiwan has hosted WBC pools in 2013 and 2023. Both of those were in Taichung. Previously, Taiwan's go-to venue for international baseball was Taichung Intercontinental Stadium. But in the last 2 years, it's been replaced by the 40,000-seat Taipei Dome, more than twice the capacity of Taichung. And it's indoors, so weather will never be an issue. It was used in last fall's Premier 12. 6 games averaging over 30,000 fans in attendance. Only issue I can see is very low attendance for games not involving Team Taiwan. That was true in the last WBC and the Premier 12. But they can always use a smaller secondary venue like they did in the Premier 12. I'm sure this one is going to happen. Taiwan is not hosting this time because they hosted last time. Probably next time they will, and attendance will be much higher than it was at the Taiwan pool in 2023. Number 2, Panama City. Panama has twice hosted WBC qualifiers, in 2013 and 2023, but never for the main tournament. They weren't in the main tournament for a while there, so that explains why. Now it looks like they may be continuous members without having to qualify. The stadium's big enough. Rod Carew Stadium holds 27,000, and it's got the advantage of location, with Colombia, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Curacao all close by. The argument against Panama is actually a strong one. In the WBC qualifier 3 years ago, attendance was horribly low. The highest it got was 6,000 for the game that put Panama into the WBC. All games not including Panama were in the hundreds. Even for a qualifier, that's bad. The main tournament, of course, has even higher expectations. But that was a qualifier, with New Zealand, Pakistan, Argentina, Nicaragua, and Brazil. No offense to those countries, but it's just not going to bring a lot of people. But you give Panama an historic chance to host a real WBC pool, with some big-name countries visiting. I'm sure the house would be full for the games where Panama is playing, and at least half full for the rest. They should give this one a shot. Before we get to number 1, here are a few other places you might have expected to see but did not make the top 10. Caracas, Venezuela. I hinted at this when I talked about Colombia. Venezuela is a major baseball country. They've got a couple new stadiums with over 20,000 seats. A WBC pool there would be huge. But it's not going to happen. You don't have to be a political junkie to figure this one out. Same goes for Cuba. Hopefully it changes one day, but it won't be anytime soon. Germany, Czech Republic, Italy. Germany's got a good ballpark, but you don't get to host the WBC until you become a regular WBC participant, and they're still waiting for their first WBC appearance. The Czech team is getting ready for their second consecutive appearance, but they don't have a stadium large enough even for a qualifier. Italy also needs a larger venue, but even if they had one, Netherlands would still be a better European candidate. Sydney, Australia. The Sydney Cricket Ground can be used for baseball, and it was in 2014 for the MLB opening series, with 38,000 in attendance. Imagine if the cricket ground was used for the WBC. The venue would look great, but there'd be too many empty seats. Even in the games where Team Australia is playing, it would be hard to fill all the seats. And with Australia being so far away from the rest of the baseball world, attendance at the other games would be embarrassingly low. Arlington, Texas, Globe Life Field. Could it host a WBC round? Yes, of course it can. It's got all the same qualifications as Houston. It would land somewhere in the top 5 on this list. I just didn't want to waste a spot in the top 10 for a place that wouldn't even be a new state for the WBC. And number 1, Santo Domingo. Quick, name 3 countries associated with baseball. I'm betting most of you would say USA, Japan, and Dominican Republic. USA and Japan have hosted the majority of WBC games. Dominican Republic has hosted none. Sure, the DR can't compare to the other two in population or wealth. We're not asking them to host the final round, just first round group play, like Puerto Rico will be doing for the 4th time next year. Puerto Rico's a good host, but it's time to give Santo Domingo the chance to be the home of the Caribbean pool of the WBC. Estadio Quisqueya was used in 2024 spring training for a 2-game series between the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. It was upgraded for that series. It could be used for the WBC too. Capacity is 14,000, a little small but not too bad. I think it would be worth taking a small hit in attendance in order to hold an historic WBC pool on an island where baseball is king. And that's it. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. That's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.